is 7:07. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This meeting is being held in accordance with the public laws of 1975, Chapter 231. An adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a notice sent to the Star Ledger, the local source, and posted in the main lobby of the municipal building and on the Township website. We would like to welcome back Dave Penna of American Legion 228. We apologize for not including you in the last couple meetings. It was an oversight on our part. We sincerely apologize. We always appreciate your participation and your presence, and with our sincerest apologies. And if you wouldn't mind, we would be honored, Dave, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Understood. I certainly will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now ask for a respectful moment of silence for all those who serve our country, both near and not so near. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Capides?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Weber?
Here.
Committeewoman Du Bois will be joining us later. Committeeman Huber?
Here.
Committeeman Kaiser?
Present.
We have several announcements today. I beg for your patience as we go through them all, but they are important. The Farmers Market takes place on Mondays through October 26th. Please visit at the corner of Mountain Avenue in North Trivet from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. That is every Monday through October 26th. Bulk pickup is this week. Please have your bulk out today, Wednesday, have it out tonight for tomorrow, Wednesday, September 23rd. Please also keep in mind that, things could be very heavy. It may take some time for the township to go around and collect all of the bulk, but it will be picked up. I just ask for your patience. It does take some time. Sometimes the bulk is very, very heavy, and it does take several trips to make sure that all the bulk is collected. So if it is not collected tomorrow, please keep it out. They will be by, they will pick it up, but they do need to make several trips because especially around this time, the bulk is very heavy. Springfield Unity Project presents Springfield Community Day on Saturday, September 26th. That's this Saturday, 2 p.m. Socially distanced outdoor event in front of Town Hall to celebrate all of our first responders. Fill up at the food trucks and enjoy a live set from Trio and Tuvia Zimber. Saturday, September 26th, after the Community Day at 2 o'clock, we'll have the community cleanup, the motor vehicles parking lot, trash pickup, and meet the first responders, hosted by Donald Davidson and Springfield Police Department. Springfield Recreation Pride Month at Chisholm Park, Thursday, October 1st. Rain date is Sunday, October 4th, 6 p.m. There's a DJ, music. 6:30, Front and Center will perform. 6:45, remarks. And at 7 o'clock, the movie Love, Simon, which is rated PG-13. Crowd capacity limits and physical distancing enforced. Mask required. And you'll also have free popcorn. The Township Committee and our employees extend condolences to our engineer, Michael Disco, and his family on the passing of his mother, Barbara Disco, on September 17th. Michael is also a very valued employee here, just like all our employees, and we certainly send our condolences. Paper shredding event is Saturday, October 3rd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Springfield Community Pool, that's 44 Morrison Road. I would like to congratulate the Mayor's Day Committee, who had their annual event. And even though we are in, certainly weird and unusual times, they were they've been very successful. I was honored to attend at Chisholm earlier, Baltusrol earlier this month. And thanks to a large part of our generous donors, they were able to award $20,000 in scholarships for the class of 2020. So job well done and congratulations. Lastly, just a JCP&L update, and I'm sure Mr. Basicolo will go into more detail. I did talk to Carol Bianchi, who is our regional service contact with JCP&L, and they're going through a process right now. As we reported last month, they appeared in front of the New Jersey Senate and Assembly. They are currently now meeting with all the county heads for which they represent. The next part of their collaboration and dissemination of information will be with each individual municipality they represent, with the department heads and township officials. And then finally, they will be with the township committee to present at a township committee meeting to answer your questions. We know that this has been a long road, and I know you've been patiently waiting for answers, but just know that the JCP&L want to make their visit to us as informative as possible and have as many answers for you as they can. Obviously, one of the things that they have shared with me that, the communication across their area may not have been as strong as they would like it to. So they wanted to do their due diligence to make sure that they had all the information they need after meeting with state, county, and then finally our local residents to give you all the information and kind of debrief on the events of the storm. That concludes the announcement portion of the meeting. Does anyone on the township committee have anything they'd like to share? Announcements? No, seeing none. We're going to now open up the meeting to the public on agenda items only. Anyone from the public wishing to be heard, please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to comment on agenda items only. I'm going to ask Ms. Donnelly if she would take the 3-minute time limit and give me a little signal when the 3 minutes have elapsed. Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment portion on the agenda items only of our meeting.
Mr. Mayor, there's Mr. Friedman had his hand raised.
Okay, I apologize. I did not see that on my end. In the Q&A portion of the Zoom, my apologies. Mr. Moloch, thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. Mr. Friedman, would you like to speak on an agenda item?
Yes, my name is Stephen Friedman, 17 Evergreen Avenue in Springfield, New Jersey, 07081. Apu, thank you for seeing my hand raised. I appreciate that being noticed. I wanted to just express my condolences to Michael Disco as well. I used to coach with him baseball, and my heart goes out to him and his family. I hope all is well and he comes back to work sooner rather than later. One thing on the agenda was a concern I had, ordinance 2020-23, authorizing $200,000 from the capital surplus for the acquisition of Department of Public Works payloader. May I ask what brought this on? In addition, is our payloader broken or is it being sold at auction? And secondly, could you explain a little bit about the capital surplus budget? Is that something from a previous bond issuance or something to that nature? I'll yield. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. And just for anyone who arrived late, I did close the public portion for agenda items only. And after I did so, Mr. Mullock did allow me or informed me that someone had their hand raised. So it is still closed. We just had that one comment. And I'm going to ask, perhaps Mr. Betcher or Mr. Basicolo maybe can perhaps answer that question better than I can to the specific details of this ordinance.
Okay, if you would like, Robbie, fill in anything that I might miss. The piece of equipment we're replacing is a 23-year-old piece of equipment. We're getting to a point now where the repairs on it are becoming extremely expensive. We use this for picking up leaves. We use this for snow removal. It's a critical piece of equipment. So we've gotten 23 years out of it. It's starting to give us some serious issues. We are going to put it on gov deals at the time when we do replace it. As far as where the money's coming from, I think, Diane, you could explain better where we actually got that money from, if you would.
Yes, that was money from prior ordinances that were canceled in past years. And it was sitting in a separate fund, and we can easily use that without going for additional borrowing to purchase this piece of equipment.
So this was money that we've already borrowed and we're paying interest on paying it back.
That's correct.
Okay, so it's not additional.
No,
Okay.
There's no additional borrowing or anything on this ordinance.
Okay. Robbie, did I miss anything?
Yeah, the only thing I want to mention, John, is that unlike our vehicles and our trucks, these loaders are very critical in the day-to-day operations, and we only have 3 So it's not like we have a fleet of them, and all three of them are active all year round, especially in catastrophic events like storms, snowstorms, tropical storms. Again, these are critical pieces, and we owe that 23-year-old machine nothing.
You know, and I just want to add one more thing. You know, during the storm, and I know I mentioned it before, there were times that I was speaking with Mr. Betcher and Deputy Mayor Weber about purchases like this. And the one thing I do have intimate knowledge of is the fact that, you know, to DPW's credit, during that terrible storm, our roads were passable and clear in one day. And that is due into a large part of the effort and the mindset of making these investments to these machines and to making investments of these equipment to go as far as possible in the remediation of our streets and our roads and to keep everything clear. And it's a credit to Mr. Betcher and the township employees for their forward thinking in, you know, acquiring this equipment and these vehicles to service our community as quickly and efficiently as possible. So although this is a capital expense and although this has a big price tag, you know, this is a smart investment and this is a proactive investment to make sure that our residents are continued the quick and efficient service they get in instances like this where there is a storm and our roads are clear and passable in a very, very short amount of time. And I appreciate their efforts with this purchase.
Agree 100%. Spend a little bit now and it pays off huge dividends in the long run. Like you said, 23 years that last one lasted.
All right. Moving on to reports. Mr. Basicolo, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Just a brief update on our developments around town, the redevelopment. We had a meeting last Friday with the Gomes people, the developer of the Gomes property, and we had New Jersey DOT there. We had our engineering department, our building department, our DPW, our police, fire. They're ready to kick off to start doing the footing and foundation. So before we did that, we wanted a pre-construction meeting to make sure everyone was on the same page. It was very helpful, and I really want to thank all of our departments for showing up and making sure that we walk the developer through the process of what he's going to need, when he's going to need it. So hopefully we don't have any holdups. Now, that being said, we have another meeting this Thursday on site with the footing and foundation engineer. And our construction official is going to meet her out at the site. Mike Disco will be there and myself. We'll go out and we'll talk to them just to make sure, again, we're on the same page. We don't have any holdups or any blips that go on along the way. I'm sure there's still going to be some things that are going to come up, but we're moving in the right direction. He now has his permits to knock down the other two houses on site, and he also has his permit for the footing and foundation. So at this point, he's pretty much ready to go, not only with footing and foundation, he will follow with steel after that. He's just about taking all the dirt out that he needs for the foundation where it's dug. If you look in there, you can see we got a giant hole there. It's pretty much at the level that it needs to be. So I think we're making some decent progress there. On the other project across the street, which is SPD Sale, Charlie Larkin's property, I don't know if anyone saw, but he started putting the stone cladding on the outside of the building. It's a white stone with beveled edges. He started a little bit on Walnut Court area, did the corners and did some work on the front. Actually, it looks very nice. It's a really nice finish. They're also continuing to work on framing. That will be continuing on for, the next probably 4 or 5 weeks, more framing to go. So again, he's making good progress there. On our Saks project, which is 92 Milburn Urban Project, I forget what the entire name of it is, but everybody knows it as a Saks project. The Milburn Board of Adjustments met last night and they did not vote. They held it off till October 5th. So at this point, there's nothing further to report right now on that. That's pretty much where we are right at the moment on the redevelopment side. What I would like to ask Mr. Betcher, if he would, we've been very busy again, not only in DPW, but we were very busy in engineering, our building department. Most of our departments, the town has been very active, but I thought maybe Robbie could just put out a couple of bullet points real quick, just to give you guys a flavor of what's been going on. Robbie?
Yes. So we have our next road improvement project coming up. The bid was awarded on September 17th. We have a pre-construction meeting on September 23rd at 10 o'clock. The next set of streets include Washington Avenue, Woodcrest Circle, Fernhill Road, Skylark Road, and Persimmons Way. We have our TDMA site, temporary debris management area. That's at 44 Morrison Road. We're still taking quotes to process that into mulch. In the meantime, I filed for an extension with the DEP because it's still considered an active site. We have our bulk collection, which is pretty busy for us, responding to residents over the next 2 days, 23rd and 24th. I do want to make a note that electronics and brush is not considered bulk and should be disposed of through the various programs that we host Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 44 Morrison Road, 7:30 through 11:30. Following the cleanup, we did fall behind in various areas due to the cleanup process. We're spending some time catching up on our pumping station, sewer maintenance, buildings and grounds maintenance, grass cutting, tree work, stump removal, street sweeping, vehicle maintenance, garbage and recycling issues, some resident concerns, and some ongoing projects that we have, just to mention a few things that we're taking care of. And I expect to have everything back on schedule by the end of the month.
Thank you, Robbie.
Okay. Yep.
If anybody has any questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
I just had a question, and maybe it's something you can expand on, or maybe that I would brief it enough. We did get installed, I believe, last week, by Union County, a voter box behind Chisholm.
Yes.
For those who wish to, I know the mail-in ballots, they're being sent out to town alphabetically. I think right now they're on G. So it's going to be maybe a couple weeks before the mail-in ballots get to Springfield. But for those who wish to utilize the box, it is a box put in by the county behind Chisholm. There has to be specific requirements which we meet. This box is monitored 24/7, and it is emptied out every day by the county elections employees. So when those vote by mail ballots come, you can put them directly there, and that will go directly to Elizabeth to be counted. I don't know if there's anything that I need to add for that, but I just wanted to make the public aware of that as well.
I have a question on that. Do we know how do they determine where the boxes were going to be placed? What I'm asking is, why wasn't one placed at the town hall? Do we know why, or it was just it's what they wanted to do?
Yeah, and I think Linda can answer that directly because she was on the phone with them.
Yes, it cannot be placed at or near a police station. So it could not be in front of town hall. And it was determined by the Board of Elections that Chisholm would be the best area. There's parking and it's open and it is under camera surveillance.
But cannot be by a police station.
No.
Interesting. Okay.
Anyone else have any questions for Mr. Pasicolo or Mr. Betcher? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on. Mr. Sclera is not here, but would you like to, Mr. Seidel, would you like to give an update on the bid business, please?
Certainly. Justice, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna mute my phone that I just dropped. We had our monthly bid meeting this morning. We are looking at various programs every month or two through the beginning of the year. We have a gift card program that will be coming out shortly where we offset the cost of gift cards. We're looking at different ways to assist various restaurants and eating establishments on how we can help them find better ways to serve the public, especially with the weather turning colder. The outdoor dining may become problematic, and to see how they can continue, maybe ramp up their curbside. We also have our second bond payment is due on the streetscape project. That's coming up in November. And we have a marketing meeting scheduled, I believe, for next week to go over just some of the ideas and some of the programs that we will be implementing over the next month. So keep an eye on the Patriot and our bid Facebook page. You'll start to see these promotions coming online shortly.
Thank you. And I just got my Patriot Times today in the mail, so they just hit today. Great resource to get everything you need to know about Springfield. All your information is right there.
Mine
Scott.
came today too. It was at the post office on Friday. I'm not quite sure why it took till today to get here, but at least you got it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Scott.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Seidel? Moving on to finance. Do I have a motion, please?
I will make a motion to accept the total amount in payroll and invoices for the period of September 10th through September 22nd, 2020 in the amount of $1,575,416.34.
I will second that.
Roll call, please.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes.
Okay.
We also have the August pool budget, the August revenue report, and the August current budget report. And I would like to ask that they be received and filed. We have no minutes and reports. Moving on to new business. We have 1, 2, 3 ordinances for second reading. Madam Clerk, if you will.
Ordinance 2020-16. This ordinance amends the police department's vehicle service fee, Chapter 2 of the Township Code.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-16 as read by Madam Clerk, publicized in a local source on October 1st, 2020.
Second.
Okay.
Who made the second?
Weber.
Kaiser.
Kaiser. Got it.
Kaiser. I don't know what I'm for.
It's okay. It's all right.
I'm old.
No, yeah, stop it. I would now like to open up the ordinance 2020-16 to public comment. Anyone wishing to comment on ordinance 2020-16, please use the Q&A function in the Zoom to notify us and start with your name and address. Okay, and seeing none, I would like to close the public comment portion of this ordinance. Any discussion up here? I know we spoke about it last meeting.
This just has to go with, all those cars parked in the parking lot. Those cars earn every single dime times 10 back. This is well worth it for us.
Absolutely. I agree. Okay. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. Ordinance 2020-17, Madam Clerk.
This ordinance amends Chapter 20 Sewers of the Township Code to supplement Schedule A for sewer connection fees.
Mr. Mayor, as read by Madam Clerk, ordinance 2020-17 for publication on local source, October 1st, 2020.
I will second.
I'm sorry, second first, yeah.
Okay. I would now like to open this ordinance 2020-17 to public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to comment on ordinance 2020-17, please use the Q&A function in the Zoom.
I know John has done it before, but maybe he should just explain it to the public again what we did.
Sure. Seeing no Q&A responses, I'm going to close the public comment portion. Mr. Basicolo, if you would please just quickly.
Yeah, I believe this was a change that was made by DCS, and we had to make a change in our ordinance to reflect that. That if we didn't, we would be missing collecting some fees, which again are going to help offset when we have to buy more flow rights. That's the whole idea of all of these sewer fees that we've put in place.
And I think, again, as Deputy Mayor Weber said, this is, again, very much worth it. Any further discussion up here?
No, I think we had it last time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, roll call, please.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. Ordinance 2020-18, Madam Clerk, if you would.
This ordinance amends the shade trees provision of the Township Code.
Mr. Mayor, as read by Madam Clerk, ordinance 2020-18, in a local source, October, I did it again, sorry, Alex, October 1st, 2020.
No, second. We're actually perfect today.
Oh, okay.
So far, we're good.
All right. I would like to open up ordinance 2020-18 to public comment. Anyone wishing to be heard regarding ordinance 2020-18, please use the Q&A function in the Zoom. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment portion of this ordinance. Any discussion up here? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Committeeman Huber.
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Yes. Well, is it? Did somebody just? I just saw somebody on the Q&A. They explain this. I don't know if they were talking about this ordinance. I don't know if maybe somebody could.
No, you are correct. Yes, this ordinance. This is a new comment. Sure. Would you like to? Well, why don't we continue with the roll call since we're in the middle?
Yeah.
And after the roll call, we'll have Mr. Basicolo comment for the public. You are on.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes, Mr. Basicolo, if you would.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This really started when, we had a discussion where we were seeing that when developers were coming into town and buying a house and clearing a lot out of every tree on it, they were just clear cutting because obviously it's much easier. So we put together an ordinance, and this basically came from a culmination of other towns. We called a bunch of other towns, asked them to send us theirs so we could try to pick the best out of it. And we had Mr. Betcher looked at it. We had some people in Mr. Betcher's office, Mr. Brennan look at it, Mike Rella, and kind of together, we put together this ordinance. And again, this is so that we don't end up with clear cutting. It also establishes cost to cut a tree down for a resident. Multiple trees cut down, the fee will change, obviously. So it's a work in progress a little bit. We put it together, but there still may be changes to come as we see how it works.
Thank you, Mr. Basicolo. Moving on to first readings, we have 1, 2 for first reading. Madam Clerk, will you please read the ordinance by title?
Ordinance 2020-23. This ordinance authorizes $200,000 from capital surplus for the acquisition of Department of Public Works payloader.
I will make a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-23 as read by Madam Clerk and with publication in the local source on September 24th, 2020, with a final hearing scheduled for October 13th, 2020.
I second.
Okay, is there any discussion up here?
Nope.
I see Mr. Friedman in the chat wants to have a question on 2023. And I know that he's made a point to say that we didn't let him respond to our our initial answer to his question during the public comment on agenda. I sincerely apologize for that. We did not realize that there was another response that you wanted to make, and I also believe that the 3 minutes had expired. However, we are going to let you. I will obviously let you speak during the last portion of the meeting during the public comment on any governmental issue. Is there any other discussion up here? No. Can I have a roll call, please?
We get a new one.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber.
Yes, I'll say yes for Weber.
Yes, sorry.
Committeeman Huber.
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. Moving on to ordinance 2020-24, Madam Clerk.
This ordinance updates the Township Code's schedule of maximum rates for towing and related services.
Mr. Weber.
Sorry, I keep unmuting myself. I'll make a motion to adopt 2020-24 as read by Madam Clerk, publicized in a local source. September 24th, 2020, final hearing on October 13th, 2020.
Second.
Any discussion up here?
No.
No? Mr. Basicholo, do you want to just really briefly let the public know what this is about, please?
I might throw that over to Chief Cook. He probably has a much better explanation on this one. It really affects his department the most.
Certainly.
If you could just refresh me on that, as I'm multitasking at the time here, so sorry about that.
It's the towing ordinance that Ryan Westover brought to us.
The question is, why?
Can you just briefly explain what this ordinance is about? What we're voting on?
It's just updating any fees that might be out there. Looking at what other state regulations are or other towns are doing as well. So we're just updating ourselves to stay up with the times.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Any discussion up here? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. Okay, now it's the resolutions portion of the meeting. We're going to adopt these by consent agenda. If you would like one pulled, please let me know. 220, 237, 220, 238, 220, 239, 220, 240, 220, 241, 220, 242, 220, 243, 220, 244, and 220, 245. Do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to adopt resolutions 220-237, sorry, all the way through 220-245.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. Okay, moving on to discussion and action items. The township accepts the resignation of Sylvian Grabowski as a member of the planning board for her term expiring December 31st, 2020. And thank you to Ms. Grabowski for her service. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I have a motion. She did a great job while she was there. Motion for accept Sylvia's resignation effective, I guess, immediately.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And I also would like to thank her for her service to our community. I know obviously it takes time away from family and other commitments, and we appreciate her service to her community. Moving on to correspondence from Westfield, ordinance 2189, amend the land use revising the submission requirements for preliminary and final site plan and preliminary and final subdivisions applications. And this is an introduction. And I move that that be received and filed. Moving on to public comment on any governmental issue. I'm going to open up the meeting for any governmental issue. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes. I'm going to ask Ms. Donnelly to take the time, and I'm also going to go back to Mr. Friedman. I want to lead off with him with my apologies for the miscommunication. Mr. Friedman.
Yeah, I had a response to the initial question I posed, and I know it's difficult to be on a Zoom meeting. I would really prefer to be outside at the town hall discussing matters of business, and I'm not sure why the township is not open yet. Maybe it's probably COVID related, but I had a question regarding that after my question regarding ordinance 2020-23. I think you misread me. I said I wanted to tell you I think it's a great idea to purchase a new payloader instead of paying off for repairs over and over again. I'm in total favor of capital improvements where they're necessary. And in no way did I question why it's being purchased. I'm actually supporting that. So it's good to have me or someone who's talking finish their thought instead of muting me. If we were at a town hall meeting, you wouldn't be muting me. And I think this is more like a cloak behind a screen where the interaction is one-sided. It should be multi-sided, multifaceted. And I'll leave that alone. But I am in favor, Mr. Betcher. I think you run a great show there, and I wouldn't doubt, the needs of the DPW. As I said in the last meeting, doing a great job. So I wanted that to be on the record. The second thing I had was, will the township be holding meetings anytime soon in public, outside of these Zoom meetings, and when would that happen?
Right now, to be honest with you, we don't have any plans to do meetings back in town hall or in a public venue. All of our meetings right now are being done on Zoom in the township, and we are going to continue that. And right now, we do not have any plans to change that format.
I mean, we can use social distancing. I'm not sure why that is. You can indoor dining at 25%. You can social distance. Zoom meetings are great when there's real tragedy, real emergencies. I think based on the history of this illness, I think it's becoming a little less severe. And I think the opportunity to come before the full panel, the full council to talk about things is something I look forward to and always enjoyed. And to take that away without a concrete reason is not suspicious, but I'm not sure I understand why, given that we're all I go to work every day, and we have social distancing. The malls are open. I'm just not sure, what the purpose is of having a Zoom meeting when, in fact, we can have public meetings. And I'll end with that, but one more caveat. When I did speak for 30 seconds, it wasn't 3 minutes. I yielded to let you talk so I can finish. So I only spoke for 30 seconds. And you said that, I was over my 3-minute allotment and you didn't let me speak on the 2020-03 ordinance. And that's okay. But I think because of this Zoom meeting, more openness, more transparency is of the utmost importance moving forward. And I thank you for your time. I thank you, Mayor. I thank you, Scott, the township, for working through all these issues. And again, I'm a supporter of things that we do. I'm not here to place negative comments. I'm here to learn, understand, and rest assured that it's all in good faith. Thank you.
No, and Mr. Freeman, I really do appreciate your comments. Certainly nothing about the environment that we are in is concrete. I've done the opposite. I've actually let residents, to speak longer than the 3-minute time limit. And again, I think if you knew me, you would know I'm not one to cut anybody off or mince words or minimize anyone's comments or feelings intentionally. And if I did that, I please apologize. And you're right. Maybe it is because of the Zoom interaction that we have here. And maybe you are right. If we were looking at each other and facing each other in a public setting, we wouldn't have those miscommunications. But unfortunately, right now, as I said before, we have no plans to move into the public. With that said, we're going to move on to Mr. Klein. Mr. Klein, if you could bring him up, Apu, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Just please state your name and address for the public record.
Sure. Barry Klein, 291 North U Terrace.
Hi.
Hey there. Thanks for letting me speak. I actually sent a couple emails, but I haven't heard back, so I figured I'd just come on the call today. We're about a month and a half past the third nearly week-long power outage for large portions of Springfield, and it's the third almost week-long outage in about 10 years. So I'm sure you would agree that's really not acceptable. Losing power for a few days should be a once-in-a-lifetime event, not a once every 3 years event. So I'm here to ask what's being done to make sure this doesn't happen again. Is there a plan? Has anyone spoken with anyone at the BPU? I think we need sort of a status update so this issue doesn't get sort of put back on the back burner. Thanks.
You're welcome. And your answers is yes, yes, and yes to all of the above. We have been in constant communication with JCP&L and their representatives, and answers are coming soon. We are going to provide you an opportunity to speak directly to JCP&L to voice your specific concerns. We certainly do not want to put ourselves in a place of answering for JCP&L. I've spoken to our representative several times. She knows, continually, she knows there were obviously some missteps here, and obviously there's some missteps now. And I ask you to be patient, and I ask you that when we have our meeting next month, or I believe she's coming in either next month or the month after, when that timetable comes, when she is going to be present here to answer your questions, you can have the chance to speak directly to her. Actually, I'll do you one better. If you want to leave, Mr. Mullick is our kind of MC for the Zoom, and if you want to message him privately, your phone number, I will put you in touch with someone that might be able to from JCP&L that might be better to answer your questions. So I don't know if you're still on, but
yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you. So, who's that? What's
her name is Carol
Mullick?
Bianchi. Her name is Carol Bianchi, but yes, it's Apul Mullick. If you give him a direct message with your phone number, he will relay that to me, and I'll put you in touch with someone who might be able to answer your questions the best, and you could have that one-on-one dialogue with JCP&L directly.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. Next, let's go to Barbara R. Barbara R., can you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Barbara Rappaport, 50 Country Club Lane. I'm also asking about JCP&L. I had never got an answer to a question, and it's concerning the development. And I had actually gone on the bid site, the Facebook page, and apparently my question was assumed to be hostile, which I wasn't trying to be hostile. But anyway, I just wanted to know, with the blackout that occurred, and now that we're going into the winter months, I just wanted to know that before all the development was approved and designed, was an impact study done about how it's going to affect the existing service? And what was the conclusion? Especially knowing that no one even wanted to buy JCP&L out. I'm a little concerned that the antiquated state of their service, will they be able to handle the additional load without affecting residents or anyone who's presently on their system?
Well, that question is best asked to the planning board, but being a past member of the planning board, I can certainly tell you that the utility function in a plan for redevelopment is included, and it's something that the planning board does consider when developing new, when they do a forgive me, I'm sorry. The utilities are studied and are considered when they're doing a redevelopment, and they will conduct that study and do that study, and it is included in the planning board's plans for new development. So they're not running off of existing lines and cables. There's new lines and cables that are also included in a redevelopment such as the one you speak of.
Mr. Mayor,
Sure.
JCP&L does a load study also on these, so that has been done.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I think Mr. Basicolo accidentally forwarded his link. There is a member of the public that is looking to ask a question, but they're in as a panelist, so they can't ask as a Q&A. I'm going to unmute this other Mr. Basicolo, who you could recognize, please, sir.
Apu, what do you need me to do?
I'm sorry, there's a second Mr. Basicolo in as a panelist.
And
Are you
this
sure
is
that's
this
not
is
Mr.
the first time. I
Basicolo?
don't know how that's
Pooh, I
happening.
think you just unmuted Greg.
Somebody was in the chat looking to ask a question.
That was me, Greg.
Okay. Could you just identify your name and address for the mayor, sir?
Sure. Greg Nadan, 113 Tucker Avenue.
Hi, what's your question?
So I got spoiled with the 2-day-a-week garbage collection during the summer. Has there been any discussion ever about having that made permanent?
Not currently, not a discussion that I have been privy to, but I think the 2-day collection, that choice comes up when it's time to renew the contract. So there's been no plans to change that schedule as of yet. But when it's time to renegotiate a contract with the garbage, that's considered in that time. And I don't know what year we're in with our contract, but when that contract negotiation comes up, that's when it's spoken about.
Okay. I mean, has there been any public request for it besides me? I'm just curious. Like, is there?
Yeah, no, listen, I think, the public does prefer it. And I think that's why we've done it. And if the numbers are right and we can provide that service again, we'll certainly consider it. But it's nothing that I can give you a definitive answer on at this time.
Okay. Thank you.
No, thank you. All right. Seeing no more Q&A in the function, I'm going to close the public comment portion of the meeting with my sincere thanks to those members of the public who participated. And I understand we have an executive session this evening. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 9/2220, whereas Article 6 of the Open Public Meetings Act provides that a public body may hold a closed session, and whereas the Township Committee will during this meeting enter into discussion of the following matters: attorney-client privilege and contracts for Springfield 92 Milburn Ave Urban Renewal LLC. Whereas the matters to be discussed in closed session are to remain in the strictest of confidence by all Township Committee members in furtherance of their fiduciary duties to the Township. Now therefore be it resolved, matters discussed at this meeting will be released to the public when the reasons for discussing and acting upon them in closed session no longer exist.
I make a motion to enter into executive session.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we have to come back to this, the closed meeting, but there's no action that's going to be taken, correct? Yes.
Correct.
So I'm going to ask the people that are involved in the executive session to move over to the other Zoom, and we need to come back to this Zoom to close out the meeting. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor.
Do I leave this? Come here. Do I leave this one?
You gotta leave that meeting.
Okay.
Okay, we have Deputy Mayor Weber, Committeeman Kaiser. We're waiting on Miss Donnelly. Okay, we are back. We have a majority. I have Linda via my cell phone. So do I have a motion to adjourn? You got to unmute yourself, Alex, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Alex makes a
Second.
motion. A second by Deputy Mayor Weber. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you, Guido.
Good night. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.